Omkareshwar Chivari. Is there any way by which our ancient knowledge can be used to have substantial material impact to elevate India globally and decolonize Indian mind?
Sankrant, maybe you can take this.
Um, I think Sanjay ji can speak about this, and Bhaskar can. One of the things that I can point out is I'll give you one example, which might be a little bit off. The charts here. There was a book called Vedic Science and Technology that Garuda had published. This is by an engineering professor, and from a very practical standpoint, he had found these texts where they, for instance, talked about building a solar cell. How do you build a solar cell? There was also a text where he hasn't, which talks about very precise waves that if you combine them, they can be used as weapons. So there's a piece of information and a lot of knowledge. In fact, Maria Wirth, who wrote "Thank You India," who's a German immigrant to India, she mentions that German science really took off after they imported a lot of Sanskrit manuscripts from India, and this is where the whole rise of German scientific mind and German science happens. So, and there are more than 2 million extant manuscripts, Sanskrit manuscripts, more than the rest of the ancient world combined. So I think we've only scratched the surface, and if we really took this seriously, there is so much knowledge to be
There are
obtained.
3 million, there are 3 million documents waiting to be translated and which are available within Indian libraries, waiting to be translated. 3 million. That was the time when I was actually heading the department which dealt with Sanskrit education in Rajasthan. That is the figure that came to me.
Which is
And
why
there's
it's so
so many
important.
Sanskrit universities have been created, but they do precious little research.
Sanjay, they will do nothing because, and this is very important to understand. Let's say you know English. That doesn't mean you can read a PhD level book in quantum physics, right? So to say that a Sanskrit department person can understand that text is just is they can't. What we need is we need the physicists, we need the chemical engineering people, and this is we need that is why we need the Sanskrit to be a mandatory language in all education streams in India so that those people with domain knowledge can then go back and read those texts.
Yeah, right. And
May I
one
also?
thing that I can mention to Omkareshwar Tiwari is that we had this session, which was moderated by Sankrant in the Jaipur Dialogues Summit here. And one of the things that was found to be very important, one of the conclusions in that particular session was that in order to decolonize the Indian mind, you have to build pride in Indian science and maths, because that is the tool that has been used to the maximum effect for telling us that we are inferior. And
Absolutely.
that's where this book, Imperishable Seed, is going to be very handy.
Yeah, that's a really very good point. Exactly what I was just about to say. That because otherwise, even our whole identity is something which is imposed from the West, from the colonial times, and we carry on with this identity blindly, believing in the other, what others have told about us, and then with this sort of a mindset, where we have not taken the trouble to know our heritage, how can we do anything of importance or anything original?